Hey guys, sorry I can't be with you in class today. I'm just going to do what I would have done in class here with you on this video. You're going to be following along with me with your coloring sheet, and this is meant for you to review World War II. So I'm going to be putting things on the screen that I want you to be writing and coloring on your page as you're listening and you're remembering the things that we talked about in class. So I'm going to use red and blue. You can use any color that you want. Just make sure you're staying consistent. If you're using, when you see red on my screen, if you're using green, make sure you always are using that color for what the purpose is, because some of these things will represent the different allies and you want to make sure you keep them consistent. So let's go ahead and start. This is the sheet that you have. We're going to start on this page. We're going to start with Germany, and so Germany is this country right along in here. You can outline it and color it red if you want to, or if you just want to write the name in, that's okay too. We're going to be showing how Germany expands and takes over Europe, and so you're going to be taking whatever color you use for Germany, and you're going to be coloring in the places that Germany takes over. So we're starting with Germany at the beginning of World War II. Germany has just suffered the loss of World War I, and they're having to pay back all the war debt. They had to take sole responsibility for the war, and all of that was written in the Treaty of Versailles, and that is really what caused a lot of resentment within Germany. It caused an economic depression, and it led the way for all of these strong governments to take over. And so we've got Germany. Germany is led by Adolf Hitler, who we can see in the picture down here, so you can label Adolf Hitler. Germany is going to move in to Austria soon. I have Italy up here, so why don't you go ahead and just, Italy is an ally of Germany, and Italy is kind of cut off right here. So if you go ahead and label Italy, you can color Italy as well. They're going to become an ally. Italy is led by Benito Mussolini. And so you can label Benito Mussolini down here. He is oftentimes seen in a very militaristic attire. Okay, so they are allies. We've got Germany, we've got Italy, and then next we've got Austria, which is this little part down here. Germany moves in and takes Austria through the unification and the vote, where there was like a 99% vote, and both countries wanted that unification. Okay, so Germany is going to continue to expand through Europe, and the British and the French are going to look at this with a little bit of fear as the militarism and the imperialism is growing and Germany's taking over. The French and the British are going to, try to have Germany stop through a policy of appeasement. So they're going to ask for Germany to stop, but then they're going to submit to Germany and just let Germany continue to take over because they're afraid of another war. So the next place Germany is going to go is Czechoslovakia, and I've just put Czech right here because it doesn't quite fit in that whole around the borders there. So you can just put Czech if you want to as well. And then the last straw is going to be when Germany invades Poland. That's going to be the very last straw for the British and the French. At that point, they have told Germany, stop, 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 and Germany continues to invade, and so at that point, they will declare war. So we've got France here, and we've got Great Britain here. These are the countries that are having growing alarm over the German expansion. And so you can go ahead and color those in another color, but I do want you to be careful before you start coloring in France. You might write France, but just remember Germany is actually going to invade France and take France over completely. So later I'm going to turn this red because Germany will invade and will take over France. So maybe you might write France in blue, but then be ready to color the whole country in red as Germany moves in and takes over. You can color in Britain completely because Germany will not take over Great Britain, so you can make Great Britain blue if you'd like to. Okay. So we've got Winston Churchill down here. He is the leader of the British, and so he is going to be on the other side, the Allies on this side, so you can label him there. Then we are going to write Poland, and you can go ahead and color in Poland because Germany is going to take over Poland here, and they're going to move in, invade. This is going to be the last straw. This is where Great Britain and France declare war on Germany. This is also going to be the last straw for the Soviet Union over here. I'll label the Soviet Union in just a second, but this is the last straw for the Soviets because Germany and the Soviets have had a peace agreement that they wouldn't fight each other, and the movement out here into the east has gone against that peace agreement, and so the Soviet Union will now turn on Germany and will fight against Germany. So you can, we'll put the Soviet Union there in just a second. So I've got a plane up here. This is going to represent the German Luftwaffe. The word Luftwaffe means Air Force, And go ahead and write that there. You need to know that word. The German Luftwaffe is going to use a strategy called Blitzkrieg, and they're going to Blitzkrieg Poland. They're also going to Blitzkrieg Great Britain, and the way they're going to take Poland so quickly is through this, it's called lightning warfare, with the rapid fire, a lot of times through the night. It's meant to confuse, and that is what a Blitzkrieg is. Okay, so now we're going to put the Soviet Union here. You can color in all just along the borders here of Poland. The Soviet Union is made up of Russia and satellite nations, and so you can just color these in right here. This will be the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union is actually huge. It will go on and expand all the way over here into the Pacific. Okay, so then we need to label Joseph Stalin. Sorry, my little thing has come up here. It'll go away. But Joseph Stalin is down here in the bottom. He is going to be an ally with the British and with the Americans. And so we go ahead and make his name there. I have already turned France red here. So Germany will invade Poland. They'll also go this way. They'll invade France. And so Germany will consist of this huge central area of Europe here. Germany by 1940, really by 1941, before the Americans get involved, Germany is going to take over this whole region of Europe. It's going to be really massive. Okay, so then we're going to label these two sides. This side over here is going to be called the Allied powers, and the Allied powers include the United States with Franklin Roosevelt, who is right here, the British with Winston Churchill, the Russians with Joseph Stalin, and the French are also going to be fighting, but eventually they will be taken over by Germany. So France is not included here, but in the beginning, France is fighting against Germany. Okay, then on our other side, we have the Axis powers. Sometimes they're called the Central powers because they're in the center of Europe there. The Axis powers include Adolf Hitler of Germany, Benito Mussolini of Italy, and we've got Emperor Hirohito of Japan. I think it's easy to remember the Axis powers because I remember the acronym JIG, J-I-G, and that just helps me remember that. Okay, now we've got this event right here. This is called D-Day. We've got these men running off this boat right here on to the beaches of Normandy. It's actually in about here. Whenever Pearl Harbor is attacked, the United States declares war on Germany. The US, the British, the Canadians, they're going to be trying to free France from Germany. And so it's this big, massive invasion of France. They're going to be running into the German troops along the beaches here. It's the largest land, air, and sea battle. Up until that point, it was just a really massive event. And what they're going to do is they're going to move in and they're going to push Germany out of France. And so that's what's going on there. The British, the Americans, the French, they're all pushing inward on this side to Germany. The Soviets are pushing inward on this side to Germany, and eventually they're going to close in. Germany will surrender eventually as they start closing in. The Soviets and the Americans and the British are going to be finding concentration camps as they're closing in, and they'll be liberating those concentration camps. When they get far enough into Germany there, what they'll do is they'll close in, and eventually Hitler will commit suicide. The war will end and Germany will surrender, at least in Europe. And we're going to call that VE Day, Victory in Europe. And so that's what VE Day stands for. And that happened in 1945. Specifically, it happened in May of 1945. The Japanese are going to be fighting in the Pacific still, and so the Americans are going to turn and focus their fighting on the Japanese after this point, and they'll go, after Germany has surrendered, the Americans will go and try to stop the Japanese. Japan will surrender later in 1945 of the same year, but it will be after Germany has surrendered. Okay, so I'm going to stop this. This was the European section, so if you want to label this Europe, you can, because this was the fight in Europe. We're going to shift over on the next page and do the fight in the Pacific, in the areas of where Japan has taken over in Asia.